Okay, let's talk now about set dressing. Set dressing means that we are going to populate your game level with props, with objects that you want to make the visual part of whatever level you are trying to create. I will try to show examples using all four types of 2D games: sprite based, top down, isometric, and hexagon. So each one is going to get its own individual video. In this one, we are going to focus on sprite based. So basically, sprite based is the freestyle. We don't have a data structure. So what we do, we basically start dragging and drop sprites onto our scene. You are in the game view here. In the scene, we start to drag and drop objects, and we are going to populate visually whatever you want. So basically, you remember you have the tools here for the first one here is for you to move tool. The second one is to rotate. The third one is to scale. The fourth one is the rect tool, when you can resize the sprite. So the shortcut is WERT, and you get all four tools that you can manipulate the sprite on screen. We already covered the example in previous videos how to create an animated sprite, like so. If I play this game, we have an animated asteroid. Then I did the same for these explosions. So you have here explosion 01 from 0000 all the way to 0023, and I create this explosion. Basically, again, select all, drag and drop, create an animator, and if I play now the game, you are going to see that we have an explosion as well in loop and the asteroid. So I have two animated sprites. And let's continue to populate. That's what this sprite base is. We are continuing to populate the game. So I could select, for instance, this Scorpio, and let's select the blue spaceship. It is not animated, but we have one. Let's rename this to spaceship. So now we have three different objects, three different game objects on the screen. And we are not going to focus, we are just focusing on set dressing at this point, so we're not focusing on any interactivity, but we are creating the element that we want to show in our game. Right now we already have a problem, because by adding multiple sprites on your level, everything that we created, we are talking about a 2D game. So everything you create is going to be placed on z equals 0 in all throughout the entire level. So what happens when I move one sprite on top of the other, like so? Let me zoom in so you guys can see a little better. See, one top will occlude the other sprite. One sprite will occlude the other sprite, and we don't up to now we don't have control of which sprite is going to occlude which. The rule of thumb is Unity is going to decide that based on the position in the hierarchy. Basically, the sprites we created first might be occluding the other ones. We need to actually define spriting layers. For that, one thing that you need to know that every single game object in Unity is going to have its own renderer. A renderer is a script responsible for rendering that particular type of object. So for the sprites, we have a sprite renderer. So if you check, every single sprite we created so far is going to have a sprite renderer, and one of the attributes for that sprite renderer is sorting layer. Sorting layer is basically that tell Unity what in which moment we want to render this particular sprite. We are going to subdivide our level into layers, and we are going to place a specific type of sprites in each special layer. So for me to right now, every single sprite, the explosion, the spaceship, the asteroid, they are all in the default layer. For me to change that, I go to this drop down menu, add sorting layer, and I start creating the orders here. And the orders here matter. The first one we create is going to be the bottom layer, and everything that comes later we will occlude the bottom layer. So for this, I will decide to put my asteroids as the bottom layer. And then on top of the asteroids, I will render the player. And on top of everything, I will render my explosions. So I have now three layers for asteroids, player, and explosion. If I want to change my mind, if I want to move the layers, I can drag and drop here and reorganize these layers. Remember, the ones on top are rendered first, the ones on bottom will occlude everyone that is above in this list here. Now that we have the layers, I can come back to my level and select my sprite and change here the sorting layer. So for instance, this is the explosion, is going to explosion layer. This is the spaceship, is going to the player layer, and this is the asteroid, is going to the asteroid layer. See, right now, because of the asteroid layer, it was on top of that hierarchy, it's already, the player is already occluding the spaceship, and I can bring my explosion on here, and if I play the animation, the explosion will be on top of everything. No matter what I do, we have a predefined order. But that's not all. Let's for a moment imagine that we have more than one object lying in the same layer. So let me create a second sprite, a second asteroid, like so. Drag and drop. Let's call this asteroid red. Whoops. Asteroid large red, and I will save this in the same folder of all my other animated sprite and save. Rename this to asteroid red, and again I will change the layer to asteroids because that's what it is. And if I place an asteroid here, see again I can move the player, the spaceship, and the explosion. They are not in the problem. Right now we have two asteroids, and the two asteroids are fighting for the same layer because they are at the same position in space, and they're in the same layer. So we need to also define the order within each layer. So for me to do that, I'll select an asteroid. Let's say for a moment I want my gray asteroid to be on top. So the ordering layer for the gray asteroid is going to be 0, and the ordering layer for the red asteroid is going to be 1. So this way I know the red is always going to occlude the gray asteroid, and this time they are not fighting anymore for a specific position in space. And this is going to work for everything that we want to add to the layer. Let's keep adding more elements. I have here a background. So if I drop down here my background, it's a little too small horizontally. See, we have some leaking. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to resize just to make sure it covers the entire camera. Let's rename this to background. And I want background to be the bottom layer of everything, and we know in the Sprites editor that the bottom layer is the default layer. So if I keep this in the default layer, I will be making sure everything else is going to be rendered on top of the background. So now we have a background for my game. It's starting to resemble like a game, but we have here some other backgrounds that we can add some stars to my background to make it a little bit more vivid. So for instance, like add this background 4. Let's see, I like to rename every single time to make sure background 4. And once more we have the same problem as the other examples. Let me copy the position. Oh, by the way, if you check an object, you want another object to be in the same position or same rotation or same scaling, you just come here, the transform of the object you want, go to the ellipsis button, and then you have copy, and then can I copy position, and then go to the other model, and then paste position, and the two objects we're going to share the same position. And same thing goes for the scaling. So copy, scale, go to the other one, paste, scale, and then you make sure the two objects are going to match the same transform every time. Again, we have two backgrounds now, and you want the background 4 to always be on top of the other one, so change the ordering layer to 1. This way you make sure this background is always going to occlude the other one. And now we have a level with stars and a space background. So our game is starting to take shape, and in future videos we are going to start programming this game.